I've been recently a lot of years. What are they
Bonnie Lykes. I want to take this opportunity to thank Lykes-Bigler and Bonnie Lykes for our sound system and for filming us. Yay! Thank you! They took a long time setting up and we couldn't do it without you. So, Bonnie Lykes says, listening to people's lives is like visiting different planets. You can exist in a whole new galaxy for as long as you can stand it. Twyla Thorpe says, I had always seen myself as a star. I wanted to be a galaxy. And Winnie the Pooh said, if the person you are talking to doesn't appear to be listening, be patient. It may simply be that he has a small piece of fluff in his ear. So here's Bonnie Lykes with her sci-fi theater of the mind.
You may close your eyes for the full effect if you wish. Welcome to yourself. Self number 2 is a betteryou.com. Thank you for clicking this audio welcome. We are the trans-interpersonal, multi-people, planetary, life coaching, virtual pod, remote cache, instatonic, digital fleshanoid unit, multi-audio system. We only have eyes for you. Hi! We transcend social networking and animate your secondary existence with a life coach concept that puts a perfect life product inside your vacuous shopping cart, and that product is you. We're delighted to have your unique profile inside us. We'll micromanage your destiny, and if there's one thing we want you to feel somewhat secure about, it's that you definitely do have a sparkling second life dying to come alive. Don't worry if your scalp starts to itch. Simply adjust the brain suction cup to any available mucousy opening. Good. You've signed our terms and agreements contract. You're invited to make the first of many PayPal payments to come with an option to upgrade. Consider our hack and give level. You grant us unlimited access to tweak your personality, and you'll receive extremely limited platinum benefits. Now, let me access your profile. Your primary life image is threatening your secondary life image.
Hey, wait a minute. I haven't done that bad of a job. I've got a baby, haven't I?
Oh, Mary, is that what you call a sparkling destiny? Having a baby? You've set your sparkle way too low. Mary, that life choice is a shapeless blob of a...
Oh, right, I get it. Well, what about my trans-dimensional pizza franchise with the pepperoni made from recycled car tires? How's that for saving the planet?
Our collective intestine finds this indigestible and too chewy, Mary.
Aw, shucks. Well, what about that selfie I took with the busboy on top of a bar in Costa Rica, huh? What about that for life sparkle?
Now, Mary, you know as well as we do, that was a blatant, staged connection, and you didn't even tip him. We saw definite signs of underwhelm emoting from his emoticon beard stubble surveillance function.
Aw, shucks.
Mary, we were thinking of giving you something a little more intense for your new second Sparkle Career Path Life Destiny choice.
Oh, yeah? Like what?
Well, Mary, we were thinking you might want to consider, well, becoming an appliance.
What?
Now, before You overreact, Mary. Let us explain. Your profile is a perfect fit, specifically for our
Psychic Sapper, Semi-Conscious Sucker Series Model.
2015. No need to use complete sentences. You'll plug right into the cloud brain and have auto-guesstimation talk, never longer than
2.7
seconds. You'll be a smart appliance, helping people to overcome their overusage of realness. You'll give them what really matters, Mary. A small, smart, real simulated digital life experience. You'll sit on kitchen counters across America and observe humanity. You'll set a premium snappy life example, Mary.
You can't do this to me. I can't be made into something that isn't about skin and clothes and pizza.
Oh, but you can, Mary. How about if we just place it here gently in your wish list, just barely brushing up against your shopping cart? I have a feeling you're going to say yes after I show you the next enticing scenario morsel.
Oh, yeah? What's that?
Your personal plug will fit snugly into your rear end and comes in a variety of pixies, including neon tutti frutti stripe dotted plaid giraffe multi-print dot. And you'll broadcast the sound of the ocean, Mary. You'll extract your ration of life force right from the mother-father board.
But my baby! What's going to happen to my baby?
Don't worry about your baby, Mary. We've already found a suitable life choice destiny sparkle plan for that. So if you just pay, read, and tick the I agree box, you'll be well on our way to creating a life of service to the planet, Mary.
Oh, gosh. Well, can I get an extra long cord length? And will I come in a portable travel size with a collapsible neon case?
Congratulations, Mary. You sound smarter already.
Joe Linchinz says, hanging with Eddie was always dangerous. I, on the other hand, would always weigh the features and benefits before I agreed to jump off a cliff. Margaret Thatcher said, standing in the middle of the road is very dangerous. You get knocked down by the traffic from both sides.
Okay, thank you, Anique. And this is the second year of a wonderful thing you're doing for Phoenicia. It's great. Yeah, I think she really deserves a round of applause. I usually do a story, but within the 5-minute time limit, I'm going to read a memoir piece that maybe someday I'll turn into a story. Even at 15, Eddie was a chick magnet. He wasn't really handsome, but he had this engaging, sly smile, quick wit, and the ability to make people, especially women, laugh and be attracted to him. Other kids were funny, but Eddie possessed a certain kind of charisma that to this day I've never seen anyone come close to duplicating. As his best friend, I was conflicted. I admired his ability with women, but I was jealous as hell about not getting laid as often as he did. Eddie and I had been friends for the last 3 years since he moved to our block in Brooklyn from a small town in Pennsylvania with his sister and her husband. His parents had both died, his mother when he was 7 and his father when he was 10. When I first met him, his sister and her husband were raising him. Our neighborhood was slightly above middle class, mostly white, upwardly mobile Jewish folks who didn't quite make the cut to flee to the more affluent Long Island communities that in those days represented the ticket to a better life. Across the street from both our houses lived our dentist and his wife. I never knew if the dentist's wife had a job, but lately, when Eddie and I were coming home from school in the afternoon, she would wave in our direction and Eddie would come over and in short order be telling her jokes and making her laugh. This was happening more frequently, and I really didn't think much about it until Eddie remarked in a locker room conversation that he thought she might be interested in more than a few hellos. I challenged this idea, But in fact, after a few weeks of silence on the subject, he reported having slept with her several times in a week. I couldn't believe this. I mean, she was like 30, about twice as old as we were. She was married, in fact, the wife of our dentist. We and our families were seeing this dentist as our patients, as his patients. Since Eddie and I were both very competitive, the fact that he could be sleeping with this hot, older, married babe made me incredibly jealous. Fortunately, although Eddie was competitive, he's always had my back and best interests at heart. As a gesture of goodwill, more to keep me quiet probably, he talked to his new lady friend into having the three of us share a little afternoon delight at her house. All jealousy I had regarding Eddie was immediately forgiven. As our menage a trois day approached, I was thinking that this encounter seemed both dangerous and incredibly exciting at the same time. Shit, what if my parents found out? Or Eddie's sister, or brother-in-law? What if his brother-in-law, well, while his brother-in-law might have been able to deal with it, his sister definitely would not see this as a sort of young men sowing their wild oats kind of thing. And what about our dentist? What if he found out? Worse, what if he knew and didn't say anything? I could imagine my worst nightmare, sitting on that big monster-like dentist chair, seeing him with a mask over his mouth and this giant needle coming my way. As he was puncturing my skin, I imagined him saying, "Now this is for stooping my wife, you son of a bitch. You'll never get out of this chair alive. First I'm going to do a root canal on every one of your teeth, and after that I'm going to pull out each one very, very slowly, without Novocaine. And then when you're writhing in pain, I'm going to get my surgical tools and perform gum surgery on your circumcised dick." Eddie, of course, would never think like this. He was a risk taker, and hanging in with Eddie was always dangerous. I, on the other hand, would weigh the features and benefits before I agreed to jump off a cliff. This, I would learn later in life, can be a good thing most of the time. On the other hand, when there was sex involved, it was penis first, philosophy, and psychotherapy later. So despite my fears, I was all in. I would describe the event to you, but I'm afraid that it was pathetic more than funny. Let's say it was less exciting than I thought it would be. In fact, the 40 or so times I masturbated before the event, imagining how incredible it was far more erotic than the event itself. I know Eddie had a great time, but I guess I was always nervous, waiting for the husband to come home, for lunch or something, or a suspicious neighbor knocking on the door, or some other unforeseen thing that would get us busted. Fortunately, that never happened, but as the weeks went on, everything started to change. I got a new dentist. Eddie's sister eventually caught on to what was going on as she observed her little brother spending a lot of time at the neighbor's house across the street. One day, she confronted our dentist's wife, essentially telling her to stop seeing her brother, or she would tell her husband and everyone else in the neighborhood what was going on. That finally ended it for Eddie, except for the fact that Eddie never really changed. In later years, as Eddie and I went to college and became roommates, he continued to up his game and the level of risk he was willing to take. He paid his way through college by dealing drugs from our dorm room, and he held tons of parties with women who, in return for free drugs, showered him with their appreciation and affection. I was always along for the ride. I admired his fearlessness, his sense of entitlement, and anyway, I always benefited by being an eyewitness and sometimes a willing participant in his exploits. Eddie and I are no longer friends, but I never stopped being amazed and attracted to his approach to life. An approach that has no sense of caution, that always seemed to snuggle up to danger, an approach to life that was consumed with the idea that the world owed him big time. He was, it seemed to me, always trying to even out the score for not being given the opportunity to grow up with loving parents and have a normal life. I haven't talked to Eddie in years. I heard he made hundreds of millions of dollars. In fact, I have no idea if he's even still alive today. But I would have really liked to have known if he ever felt that he evened the score in a world that for him never stopped being painful. Thank you.
Valerie Linet says, I want to be the one to sing the sun up for a living. Aldous Huxley said, the secret of genius is to carry the spirit of the child into old age, which means never losing your enthusiasm. Do you have enough light? Let me see. Yes. Yes?
Hello, Phoenicia. So thanks, Anique. And I just want to say that since the last year, I read a poem here last year called Hands at Work, and was actually encouraged by one of the assignments that Anique and Sparrow gave us to make broadsides. I made a broadside of that poem with one of my mom's paintings, and since last year and this year we made a book called Hands at Work, and so if you want to check that out, you can take a look at the table. This one is called Belly. During the day, you are demure, a soft pillow beneath covers, a quiet nun. You are as filled with yearning as unread books. With the shade pulled down, you have fewer secrets. Nobody to hide your paleness from. Relieved, you round out like a half moon rising. There is uncertainty about you. Sometimes you blush and wish yourself flat as noontime shadows. Wallflower, ugly duckling, hermit, dreamer. But listen, you have swallowed many colors no one has ever seen. Rainbows are mixing inside of your cave, painting all over your walls. One day you were fastened in birth, and someday might swim with life. Open your cyclops eye. Look upon yourself with kindness. Haven't you seen the statues of Buddha? I'm going to read two short vignettes from a couple of trips that I took to Cuba. The first one's called Coppelia. Coppelia is a bright, looming ice cream palace, painted in the same familiar aqua blue that many Cuban houses are, suggesting that even colors are rationed. It's 2 stories in the round, with both indoor and outdoor seating on the bottom level. It looks like a spaceship. Against the backdrop of this half-crumbling city, Coppelia's architectural whimsy and promise of sweets fills me with inexplicable joy. There are masses of people outside, waiting in different lines, being ushered to different parts of the spaceship. I'm confused. Are there special lines for foreigners? But Raphael carries on, talking about how he almost became a priest, and points me in the right direction. Coppelia boasts 33 flavors, trying to outdo Baskin-Robbins. All of them are listed on the great white board outside the building. Mango, black raspberry swirl, coconut chocolate. Except there's never more than 1 or 2 to choose from. Usually a variation of strawberry or chocolate. Because it's Cuba, says Raphael. A waitress seats us. Raphael explains that Coppelia's is one of the few luxuries Cubans can afford. As many scoops as they want. It's so cheap. It's a post-revolutionary comfort, he says. He tells me how he was almost arrested for not wanting to join the mandatory Cuban draft. He tells me that he likes his job with Salvador because it means he doesn't have to work for the government. It's one of the few private jobs. The Cuban government didn't approve of what Salvador was doing at first, summoning Afro-Cuban gods and goddesses with his paint on canvas. But now he's internationally famous, and they accept him, Raphael explains. All around us, white and pink balls of ice cream are arriving in small silver dishes. I'm thinking about Strawberry and Chocolate, the only Cuban movie I've ever seen, Fresa y Chocolate. It's about the plight of a gay artist in Havana in the 1980s. The opening scene takes place in Coppelia, and for a ridiculous moment, I feel somehow glamorous for being here. Then, the waitress returns and tells us that tonight there is vanilla and strawberry to choose from. This is Cuba. It's not a movie. Fresa, I say, 1 scoop. And there's, this one is called Malecon. It's the last one I'm going to read. Malecon. The blocks leading down to the Malecon are scattered with homemade pizza stands. Men open up little wooden windows from their kitchens onto the street. They lean on their elbows and take orders from passers-by. Pizza! Pizza! It comes in small rounds covered with a diluted tomatoey sauce and white melted cheese. I go down to the Malecon to feel bright sun and bask in the mysterious and decided manner that I love this island and all the ways it's unlike other places. I love it like I'd love a family member that's been disowned and misunderstood. I love it inexplicably, and maybe partially because I'm here by myself without another to whom I can relate the affection. I just keep telling it silently to the sea and to the pizza stalls. The walkway curves around the edge of Havana. The Gulf of Mexico licks up, sometimes jumping over the wall and splashing onto cars. I look up at the paint-peeled balconies across from the water, catching glimpses of thin, rainbow-colored laundry hanging above the busy street. Young boys on the pebbled shore beneath the walkway cast fishing lines rigged to long sticks, hoping for a catch. The Malecon is where gay lovers kiss each other with lots of tongue at night. They lean against the stone seawall and take their cues from the lapping waves. When I walk on the Malecon alone, I hear men shout out the names of countries as I pass by. Inglaterra, España, Alemania, as if I were a nation. The words are uttered as questions, but nobody ever asks, America? I begin to have nervous fantasies about being unable to get back through U.S. Customs. I imagine belonging to Havana by default, taking refuge in the Malecon, living between two cultures, always searching the horizon for Florida, countryless. I am certain if I were turned away at the border, I would swim across this gulf. Thank you.
Davida, is Davida here? Is Davida here? No? Kay Larson says, the structure of this book follows the arc of Revelation. The power of witnessing lies in its ability to reshape what is seen, how it is seen, and what is made of the seen. A new descriptive system pervades everywhere. Bob Cosby says, every closed eye is not sleeping, and every open eye is not seeing. Kay Larson.
Hi everybody, thanks for hanging around with us all. There are three voices here. The first one is Thoreau. The second one is me. The third one is John Cage, who is the subject of the book. And the backstory is that This book was published 2 years ago, and when I opened it to figure out what to read, the first sentence I read is a perfect description of the book I'm working on now, which is a statement, I think, about a writer's continuity. So, the spirit of the postmodern. Here's the book. Yeah, I have enough light, thanks. What is it to be admitted to a museum? This is Thoreau. What is it to be admitted to a museum to see a myriad of particular things compared with being shown some star's surface, some hard matter in its home? I stand in awe of my body. This matter to which I am bound has become so strange to me. Talk of mysteries. Think of our life in nature, daily to be shown matter, to come in contact with it. Rocks, trees, wind on our cheeks, the solid earth, the actual world, the common sense. Contact, contact. Who are we? Where are we? This is me. The world that has become so strange to Thoreau is the one that has always been present, although usually obscured by the feverish functioning of our internal tracking and positioning systems. To interrogate the solid earth, the actual world, is to be an explorer standing on the shore of an unknown ocean, which looks like and is the same ocean everywhere, yet is suddenly and almost unendurably exotic because it has never before been witnessed. And this is a sentence I read that reminded me of my current book. The power of witnessing lies in its ability to reshape what is seen, how it is seen, and what is made of the seeing. A new descriptive system pervades everywhere. It opens a perspective onto the actual world, the one that has always been here, and reveals that which could not be glimpsed under the old system. It can be as profound as the observation that the sun does not revolve around us. Copernicus moved the earth from its medieval place at the center of the universe. This conceptual turning toward the real moved the human ego from its cherished place at the center of everything. All of a sudden, the solid earth and the cosmos beyond it could be itself. When that happened, the human realm could be itself as well and was free to welcome the Enlightenment. And the next is John Cage. I'm going to try his voice. We'll see. And the mushrooms is absolutely necessary, you see, if you're going to eat them as I do, not to eat one which is deadly. Whereas I take the attitude in music that no sounds are deadly. It's like the Zen statement that every day is a beautiful day, everything is pleasing, providing you haven't got the notion of pleasing and displeasing in you.
The chair attacked my top. Kayla Luppino says, poetically airing our dirty laundry, just the cliche dancer blaming the stage? Oscar Wilde said, it's not whether you win or lose, it's how you place the blame.
I like that. Hello, everyone.
Hi.
All right. So I'm going to be reading a few, 4 poems from, from a chapbook I did at the end of my last semester at college. I graduated. I'm kind of an adult. It's weird. All right. All right. So the first one's called "Sawdust in My Bra." Quiet ground. All right. Bits of wooden flesh, shards, burrowing into my bosom, searching for warmth, safety from the trash heap, a false sense of being alive once more, drilling into my skin, deeper and deeper, sawing their way to my heart, porous, absorbing, they grow fat with my blood, a sigh, content with my love. All right, so next one I'm going to read is called A Slow Leak. She loses herself slowly, a drop at a time. Some were accidents, a child falling on the playground. Others were intentional, the precise cutting of a board. Then there was the toll, the necessary payment to reach her destination. The drop that came out, mixed with, made friends with, accepted and guided the drugs into her veins, only to be pushed out once more. She is shriveling. Eyes sunken in caves, filled with glassy jewels. Skin stretched and bleached, her living death shroud. No thoughts, no words, no breath. She lost herself, slowly, a drop at a time, until she ran dry. Alright. This one's called Collecting. I like to collect things, have ever since I can, was conceived. The joke is, I collected all those serpentine, wiggly tadpoles from my father, and maybe an entire ovary to create myself. That's why I'm an only child. I remember collecting, not dolls, or trading cards, though I had a few of both. But grass stains, tummy aches, imaginary friends, talking shadows. I remember collecting, hours in front of the TV, made-up games, silence, tears on my pillow. I remember collecting bud pull tab bouquets, sheets of rolling paper to burn, a drugstore, bruised holes up my arms, music to play at my funeral. Okay, and the last one, which happens to be the closing poem in the chapbook, which I don't realize I didn't mention the name of. It was called Love, Sex, and Addiction, because it's catchy. Okay, so the last one, redefining love poems. We must be using different dictionaries. Let me explain what I mean. When I write, it's because I love you that I mention the piles of pills, assortment of alcohol, and destructive drugs. It's with love I point out lie after lie after lie. The ridiculous, like a rainbow tat on your dick. The dangerous, like, I love you. Love is why I slice through your flesh, peeling back muscles, spreading ribs. This is how I show I care. Ripping up the dictionary, stuffing you with paper. That's it. Thank you.
Woo, Kayla! Yay, yay! Kasey Bornoeft says, "You have ghosts, and I'm not here to fix them." John Malkovich says, "I wouldn't describe myself as lacking in confidence, but I would just say that the ghosts you chase, you never catch." Kasey?
Hello.
Yay! And thank you for all your help tonight.
Thank you.
Bravo.
Yeah, I'm good. Thank you. I have to say I like that last one. Okay, so I have 4 poems. None of them have names. So 1, 2, 3, and 4. You have ghosts. I'm not here to fix them. I will never ask to be. I'm in front, naked is all I can give you. Soul, light, time, body, that's all I can give you. Naked. Number 2. Speak to me, please. I want to learn of the world. Tell me of the sea and the Iron City. Tell me what you have seen. It's only in my dreams do I see flowers and fields and the blue sky. I hate waking to this dark. My bed was cold while you were gone. The shadows of hell called for you. They cried for you. You're the only light this place has ever seen. It's calling for your return. And from the pits of hell I wait, singing your baby's lullaby. Number 3. I will forever be. I will be the girl in front. No words or anything special. I will forever be the girl you wish you knew. Number 4. I need to write a little bit and get some words down. You know, open the soul. Changes, many I never saw coming. I will not lie. I'm the most honest you'll ever meet. I'm blunt, beautiful, curvy, and lustful. I feel strong, physically and emotionally. I can only feel with all my heart. Speak what comes first, and not afraid of what you say. I am happy I stayed true. I am nothing more than my skin. That once over is pretty much right until you take the time to crack the egg, fry up, and serve with toast. I am nothing but my skin, you see. I cannot lie. Thank you.
Thank you. You guys have been fantastic, and thank you for those who are still here. George Carlin said, "Those who dance are considered insane by those who cannot hear the music." I've been writing lyric poems. They don't have names. Lyric number 1. A preference for gleaning tangled vines, I sometimes fear the smallest things. Azaleas not yet crimson sprout small leaves, holy sparks of a tree in bloom. After the rains, pigeons flutter in the hallway shaft toward dawn. There are errands, things to buy, separating what I can do from what I cannot do. Trapped between hope and sadness, if I could swell away from this skin, birth a new self. Here and there a crow or the sound of a passing car. A hummingbird dips into dream lush angel hollyhock flower larger than the spread of my hand. For 1 second, the world is completely balanced on its axis. 4 fierce angels, each face left. I will try to love that much.
Beautiful.
Lyric number 2. I waken to yesterday's words toppling in a strange room, skeletons of winter trees, a slow climb through morning. Thanks for helping. In the leaves, a winter bird unmarked by the empty feeder meshes somehow, even if mist sits low in the mountains. I don't know how there is light. The story moves through rain, why things fly or flow over rocks or break their shells into life or sing like it mattered or trust what comes like it was easy. But isn't this how time stops? Isn't this where you're closest to the truth? My last poem. During the centuries of the Middle Ages, between 500,000 and 9 million women were killed as witches. When I was a therapist in the city, I think all of my clients' biggest fear was being a woman growing older alone. This one's called Manifesta. I don't think I will ever again stand under flowered lattice, trembling at the forever of it, to be left to balance, grief-stricken on one leg, unable to matter. No one will love you. Mourning the electric touch that could keep a couple together for a lifetime. August morning before crickets crowd the air with their clacking. She used to be so pretty. I sleep on the couch in paint-stained jeans, rescue poodle Nesha beside me, reach for last night's black tea, check email and weather, ragged curls, no makeup on these wrinkled eyes. She's let herself go. I pay bills, spackle walls, paint the garage, chainsaw down the dead peach tree. You'll end up all alone. Aunt, widow, old maid, hag, those who own their own homes, healer, sorceress, wise woman, whore, who grew herbs or prayed in the garden. Sister, seer, old bag, witch, spinster, siren, biddy, bitch, banished. I pedal my workman's tricycle over the Esopus River bridge. 5-pound Nesha bungeed into a plastic milk carton crate in front, her eyes goggled, ears back. We fly into the wind, the possibility of poetry, potluck dinners, dancing rock and roll on the bridge, thrift store, ice cream that drips down the side of the cone, hands, bones, friends that phone, all rocks rain, grandmother, goddess, prophet, crone. If we freeze, cry, burn, fly, we grow unbroken again, alive, alone,